Hey, peace and blessings. I definitely want to welcome you back for another great episode of the Square Table Talk Show. This is where you come get back in your square, only at the Square Table with myself, celebrity interviewer I Said It, and Mimie Acosta, the legend out of Atlanta. But man, unfortunately, she had emergency tonight, so she's not going to be with us tonight. But she's always here in spirit. You know what I mean? She want to send her love to all of our audience, all of our guests, and you'll see her next month. But with that being said, we still have some very important people in the building. Like every month, you can always catch this show the last Thursday of every month. That's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That would be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, again, this is the Square Table. Come get back on your square, only to Square Table. Come get your mind right with different topics that's very engaging and just things that, sometimes we as a community are afraid to talk about or uncomfortable to talk about. But that's what we do on this show. This is a safe space to where we can just be open and express ourselves. So make sure you share this video like right now when you see this. And please, I want to welcome my first celebrity guest all the way out of Virginia, aka the DMV, Annette. Peace, Queen. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on this show. I said it.
Peace to you, Queen. I appreciate you. How's your day so far?
Excellent. I'm grateful to be here and I'm grateful that we finally connected on I said it.
Yeah, it was only a matter of time.
All right.
God is good. God is good. I'm great. I'm great. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
with that being said, we have some more great people backstage like yourself. So, let me bring in our next guest. So, I want to bring in our next celebrity guest here in Illinois, in Chicago. What's up with Michaela? How you doing? Peace to you, Queen. Welcome to the
Hi, good
show.
evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Always a pleasure. How's your day so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. I cannot complain, even if I could.
I know, right? They say they gonna get you nowhere. It's just a waste of breath, right?
Exactly. There's no sense in it.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thank you
And
for
then
having me.
last but oh yeah, absolutely, definitely a pleasure. Last but never least, my brother out of Cincinnati, Ohio, my brother Banks, man, our last celebrity guest of the night. I want to bring in. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
How you doing? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. How's the day so far? How's it treating
It's pretty cool. Opening day down here for the Red. So it's a lot of
you? Oh, okay.
things going on in the city today. So I
Yeah,
just stayed in the house.
yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you making time for me. You know what I'm saying? For this show because we got some important topics to talk about, and I'm grateful and look forward to hearing your insight along with Annette's and of course with Michaela's insight as well. So first, I just want to kind of start and go around table because I know who you are, but not everybody that's watching today or may see this in the future knows who you are. So we're gonna go round table and start with Annette, please. We're gonna go down to Michaela and then finish off with Banks. So Annette, please speak about, a little bit about your platform, who you are, how people can support you, you know what I'm saying? And again, remind them where you from.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Annette Atoigue, also known as the Warm Hearted Warrior Diva at NNO 360. And you
Yeah.
can, representing Virginia, the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Northern Virginia. And let's see here. You can find me on all platforms at NNO 360. My website is NNO360.com. I basically interview a bunch of entrepreneurs, music artists, and it's been going great. And also, I have a background of 24 years of military experience, retired from the military, from the Army. I served as a prior service enlisted individual from the Army, and then I transferred to the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps, which is our nation's first responders. And we fall under the Department of Health and Human Services. So we weren't really known until COVID happened. And so
Mm,
it was a hot mess because I was going through different COVID deployments, and then I started my podcast because I needed therapy and from all those
mm,
COVID deployments. So
yeah.
that's me in a nutshell. Thank you for having me.
Wow, no, definitely a pleasure. What an amazing journey you've been on. Thank you for being here and sharing it with us. Um, look forward to continue to network with you though.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Miss Michaela, please, if you may, please remind the audience who you are and more about your platform and how they can support you, please.
Yes, so I am Michaela Austin. For those that cannot say Michaela, it is perfectly fine. I also go by Michaela. I am a multifaceted individual. I am a philanthropist, humanitarian, pageant queen, and model. Some of my various titles have been Miss Fresh Face Universal 21 through 22, Miss Elite Fresh Face 22 through 23, Miss Beauty of the World, most Beautiful on Earth for Miss Tourism Pageant Ambassador 23 and 24, and now your current Miss Illinois Supermodel 25 through 26.
Bravo.
I have background as well in ABA and behavioral management, psychology, and I'm currently a grad student.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Really am. And that's just awesome, to be holding crowns in so many different areas. And a lot of them is recent. Like, how you keep up with all those.
You know what? Only by God's grace. I am a very Christian based individual. I do believe in Christ. I'm very Christ centered. And I believe that no matter what, He can always get us through. And that's literally my saving grace.
Mm, amen. Thank you for being here and look forward to, your insight again on this show today. But last but not least, let us bring in Banks, and that's with the S as in the money symbol.
How y'all doing? I'm Banks. I
Yes,
go by
sir.
Banks everywhere. I'm just Banks, or if you want to call me Lamar, if you know me. By family, I'm a hip hop recording artist from Cincinnati, Ohio. Been doing it for like 28, I would say, about going on 8 years now. Eight serious years, 10 in between. I'm a chef.
Yes,
I like
sir.
to call myself a chef. I'm not certified yet, but I'm in school for it. I have to go back and finish my certificate. I'm really just an entrepreneur. I like to get my hands into wherever I can. I like to show the world that anybody can do anything if you try to do it. Um, that's pretty much it for me. I don't really like to dibble and dabble until it's time for me to lock in, and do what I need to do at that moment.
No, absolutely, absolutely, man. I'm grateful that you made the time again to be on the show. You know what
Thank
I
you.
mean? Good luck to the Reds, like you say. You know what I mean? It's opening day,
Yeah.
and man, my Bulls is playing tonight, so I'm feeling the red. That's why I wore the red. You know what I'm talking about? So
I'm a
straight like
Lakers
that.
fan,
But
so we on the opposite side right now. So we we
yeah.
locked in, but tonight we might be enemies. I don't know.
Well, as long as we all live, that's what is important at the end of the day. You know
Absolutely,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
Yeah, but man, I'm grateful for you being on the show, man. Thanks for making time. So let's jump right into it. You know what I mean? On a double back with Annette. And but before that, I want to just kind of remind people, again, while we here, this is the Square Table Talk Show. If you just tuning in, but actually, we're here because we want to speak about the different awarenesses of the month. You know what I mean? Obviously, we want to first start by saying this is definitely International Women's Month. This is Women's Month. You know what I mean? I'm grateful to say that, you know what I mean, to have two lovely, powerful women here. You know what I'm saying? Really powerful women in the building, you know what I mean? Would have been three, but Mimie had an emergency, so it's all good. But with that being said, this is actually National Women History Month. This is National Nutritional Month. This is National Kidney Month. This is National Sleep Month. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all better get y'all sleep. This is Brain Injury Awareness Month. This
Wow.
is also, let me see, Brain Injury Awareness Month. Did I say that? Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. This is Cancer Awareness. Um, I don't even know how to say that. I'm not going to embarrass myself. So I'll move on. This is National Athletic Training Month. This is National um Cerebral Palsy Awareness Month. This is National Breast Implant Awareness Month. This is Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. This is Irish American Heritage Month. This is Ethnic Equality Month. This is Red Cross Month. This is Gender Equality Month. This is Workplace Eye Safety Awareness Month. That's a lot going on this month. Would y'all not say?
In
I'm like, when do
addition,
they add
it's
all of this?
also, I know, but in
I'm saying,
addition, don't forget it's also Endometriosis Awareness Month, which I also have. So I'm an endo
mm.
warrior.
Oh, well, thank you for making that aware. For whatever reason, they didn't have that listed on Google, so you need to contact Google and let them know they slipping on their pimping. They slipping on their game when it comes to just notating everything that should be, documented. Because I don't know why that's not on there, but I apologize for not mentioning that. But thanks for for
You.
mentioning that though. But let me please, when I
Okay.
think about, just awareness in general, what I mean, I just speak about, how, we all need to be more keen and tuned in to everybody, what everyone's going through, what I mean? Like we all have our different battles, different obstacles in life, what I mean? What you see on the outside does not translate what's going on the inside with anybody. You know what I mean? And even though, what I mean, everybody may have a smile on their face sometimes, or majority of the time, that does not mean that a person is happy. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it's good to just check on people. I think it's good to just, just compliment people. You know what I mean? You don't always have to be flirting when you compliment a person. You know what I mean? And sometimes the opposite sex can take it that way, and when you compliment them if they're not used to compliments, you know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that we should stop doing it because you don't know what that can do for that person. So I just think that that's what awareness in general just kind of mean to me. But I know you all are going to kind of get more into depth about the awarenesses that you like to speak about today. So I want to just start and double back with Annette, please. And please, whatever awareness that's on the list today that you would like to speak about that kind of stood out to you, um, or just in general, when it comes to awareness, just tell me about what that means to you. And you're on mute.
Okay. Um, I think I'll talk about food safety. I don't know if, I guess food safety can pertain to some of the awareness because food translates into your diagnosis as well. So
Yeah.
I would say, because I've had basically 17 years of food safety experience. I used to work for the U.S. Department of Agriculture and also
Mm,
the Food and Drug Administration. Actually, the FDA was my last duty station. And so the reason why I wanted to bring up food safety is because a lot of people don't understand or don't know how to go about getting their, I guess, their diagnosis. So
right.
basically, what ends up happening is when foodborne illness occurs with an individual, they'll go to the ER and just get the regular vitals done, but they don't know to ask the doctor or clinician to
Mm,
have a stool sample taken. So there's like vital aspects to food safety that I think people should be aware of. It's out there. It's just that when a person doesn't ask, they don't get the information or they don't get the diagnosis right. So what ends up
right.
happening is when you go in, you make sure you ask for a stool sample to be taken, right? Because technically speaking, it's a 3-day food history. So what you ate like maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes before you became ill really isn't the pathogen or isn't the illness you think, right? It didn't come from like the lettuce or the what have you. It probably came from like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, your diet or whatever you consumed. So it's
Right.
very important to ask the clinician to get like a, stool, I mean, yeah, stool kit. So that way you can get it read and then it goes to CDC, Centers for Disease Control, and then it, populates into clusters. Because what ends up happening is they'll put your information in, and then depending on where you ate, right, with the 3-day food history, the investigators will go out to like wherever you ate, like a restaurant or it could be like maybe from the actual establishment, like the ground beef or whatever the case might be. So they do trace back analysis. I know I'm probably getting too scientific, but
No.
I'm telling you, look, I'm getting flashback now, right? So basically what ends up happening, because if you don't report it, right? If you say, oh, my tummy hurts, I'll just go ahead and stick, don't worry about it. Please make sure you go and get checked, because your report is very vital to maybe a person that ate at the same establishment, or maybe the product that came from an establishment. And if it's not reported, then the investigators, they don't know where to go to, and it's not reported. So what ends up happening is when it's not reported, the number of reports is limited, right? So you have limited information to make it like a big investigation. And I want to throw out, I'll throw out some names because it's public. Like for instance, Chipotle, right? We had a really huge outbreak that occurred. And I think this is, I know it's public for it because Chipotle was an issue. So FDA, CDC, USDA, we all came together and did a collab on investigation on these clusters that occurred from these reports. And so what ended up happening, and it was a simple tweak, people, they don't think, or like companies, they don't think of, well, what can I do to prevent, or like have preventive measures in place so that way people aren't getting ill. So apparently the food line, if you go into Chipotle, it's not set up the way it was prior to the outbreak. Okay. So what ended up happening was that the workers were bringing like raw meat across the line where they were putting the bowl or the burrito together. So there's a processing line, right, for creating like your Chipotle bowl or your burrito.
Wow.
But where they cooked the meat, they had to go past that line where they were actually making the burritos. So we had cross contamination. And so apparently that's what happened. And then of course, maybe I'll let you guys read more into it on your own. But apparently like dishwashers were implemented, I guess, in order to safeguard the spread of disease or what have you, contamination with the utensils and whatever they utilize to create the Chipotle bowl. So anyway, it's very important to get your stool sample done, because what ends up happening, I'm probably going to scientific stuff, but it's called PFG. PFGE is like a DNA of what is it? It's like a DNA of like salmonella or whatever pathogen, right? So you have to get your stool sample done so you can get the testing. That's one. So that's one test. And then the other test is the food itself or the product, right? And they might align. So that's how they do their trace back, to see if there's some correlation within the strand of that PFGE.
Wow.
So
hey,
anyway,
that was very informative. And thank you for sharing that, because like what a way to kick it off is speaking about health, because that's something that's universal that we all need to be more aware of and we go through and can relate to. So thanks for sharing that, Annette. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to also note that it's unfortunate, but once there's an outbreak at any installation or facility, that's the cleanest place to eat. So just a little tidbit. All right.
Okay. I'll note that.
Right.
Please, Miss Austin, if you could, please share, your thoughts on, the topics of the day in reference to different awarenesses or whatever you feel comfortable speaking about today.
Yes, of course. So for me, I think developmental disabilities hit home. Of course, many people who actually know me personally know that I have a son who was diagnosed with autism around the age of 8 or 9 years old. However, way before that, when he was 2 years old, I actually knew, just because of my background in psychology and sociology, what I was looking at. I knew that he wasn't hitting those milestones. And I many times was going to the doctor and kind of expressing my concerns and telling them, something was not right. And I felt like, I needed some assistance in like learning exactly who to go to, what steps to take. And I was always kind of pushed off, and it was swept under the rug. I was told by various practitioners that, oh, he's just a little boy, he's just precocious, he'll grow out of it, that's just the way that he is, because he was rambunctious, he was, I felt quirky, but lo and behold, he actually does have Asperger's syndrome, which is a form of autism, which was removed from the DSM-4 before. And so at this point, we just consider it ASD, or on the spectrum. And so it's a larger umbrella of diagnosis. However, I wanted to get really into it just to be a better parent for my own sake. I felt like I didn't understand some of the nuances behind the scenes that the doctors would say, or he would tell me, okay, just go to the hearing and sight doctor and get him checked out, but he's perfectly fine. And then those test results came back perfectly fine. Everything was fine. That was always what I was told. He's fine. He's fine. And of course, every mother thinks their child is perfect. So of course, yes, he's fine in some capacity, but I knew that there were deficits there that I really needed to have assistance on. And so I had early intervention kind of come into my home and test him. And it's unfortunate that there are so many loopholes that you have to jump through and, learn, because even at that instance, he was about to turn 3. And so they turned me around and turned me down and said, we can't really do anything for you. Once he hits 3, we can't really service you. And so that was unfortunate. And that was my experience as a parent, even though I had this background that was telling me, my gut feeling that, I needed to learn more. And I know that there was an underlying diagnosis that was going unresolved. I knew that I needed more help. And that cry for, some help kept going unnoticed. So I kept pushing. I connected with some individuals through RCAD, which is a resource center for autism. And they were very helpful. They have tons of resources for those parents who are looking for resources. They are a resource hub. When I tell you, they have a plethora of different things that you can really just help yourself to. You can go in and actually make different things for yourself. You don't have to depend on any type of organization or nonprofit. They are the hub. And they were very graceful to me. They helped me through the whole process. And that was just one of my experiences that was good, because for the most part, I had lots of individuals and practitioners that weren't helpful. And because of that, I actually pushed to get into grad school to learn more. And so that I could help other parents like myself that weren't helped in the process. And from that, I've met so many wonderful people, but that's been my platform this year and other years as well. I've been doing this since I was about 15 years old, helping organizations and nonprofits, volunteering, but autism awareness, developmental disabilities, endometriosis, very particular things are very close and near and dear to my heart. And so those are the things that I really push for. So if anyone has any questions, feel free. You can reach out to me personally or on my page and ask me anything. I'm an open book. I can share my personal stories, things that I kind of have learned, and also give you resources and places to go to actually learn more. You don't have to be alone. You are not alone. I am here, and many other families are here to support you.
Oh man, that's very, very key information, in that area. And thank you for sharing that, because I just learned a whole lot between what both you and Annette just spoke about that I did not know. And peace and blessings to your son, and I hope he's doing better and everything like that. And when you speak of autism, I gotta shout out our mutual friend Benjamin, who's just super awesome. Where
Yeah.
sometimes you can't even tell that that brother has autism based on just how ambitious and outgoing he is. So you know, I just want to say that as well. But yeah, thank you for sharing that, Michaela.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you so
Thank
much. Great job. Banks, my brother Banks, what I'm saying, please, when it comes to the awarenesses of the day and the topics that we're speaking about, whatever it is that you feel comfortable speaking about today, man, if you could go ahead and just, express yourself openly.
But first, I want to respond to Michaela. Did I say that right?
Yes.
I want to respond to what she said about the rejection part because that hit home. Um, I didn't experience what my mom experienced, but I have my own experience of what I'm sure your son experienced by being rejected and saying that nothing is wrong. When well, I'm not sure y'all know my story, but I have scleroderma. I fell when I was 5 years old. I'm 28 now, and bumped my right knee. My right leg stopped growing. My right knee was swollen, and my mom took me to several hospitals, several places, and it was just, oh, his knee swole. He's
Wow.
still growing, and it was just rejection after rejection
Wow.
until like maybe 7 or 8 years later, my right leg still not growing, not bending. I'm hopping around on one leg. I don't have a cast yet. Until I was out at a restaurant and there was a random doctor who just saw me and wanted to examine me, and basically he diagnosed me with scleroderma. And like you said, just being rejected and not getting the benefits that I deserved and still deserve till today. Like a lot of people be coming up to me like, you don't get these benefits, these people don't do this, that. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I'm just doing what I can do. So that's something that really hit home.
Mm.
So I appreciate that. And scleroderma was one that I wanted to, not scleroderma, cerebral palsy was one that I wanted to discuss. My niece, she passed away and she had cerebral palsy when she was 3. She passed away when she was 3 or 2.
Mm.
And
My prayers, brother.
I've learned and I studied cerebral palsy and autism literally right after that happened, because it was just like I was confused. I didn't know what cerebral palsy really was. I just knew that she was a preemie and she had a feeding tube. So that's like, because she had so much joy, it was like I didn't really know if she was sick or not. So that was one that I really wanted to discuss and let people know, like, just because kids are so joyful, they it's hard for them to express themselves. They don't You can't see you when a kid cries, just give them a bottle or like they need a diaper change or like stuff like that. But like they really going through these painful things or like something that they cannot express. So
Yep.
like at that age, and I was in high school, I was a senior, I was just like, I personally knew just from having a disability and knowing the discomfort from being sad versus hurting. And like,
Mm.
so I was just always like very passionate. Excuse me. I was just always very passionate about that. And once she passed away, I blamed not the because she choked on her feet until she was asleep. I
Mm.
blamed the situation, but it was just tough for me to blame anything. I didn't really know how to feel. I was 18 years old, um, ready to graduate high school, and the only person who I felt attached to at who was 2 years old, because we both was dealing with something that we couldn't really explain, was taken away from me.
Trauma bonding.
So it was just like I wanted to study that more. And also, like you said, autism. When I started studying that, I watched this show. What is it called? It was on Netflix. I think it's called Atypical. I'm not sure if y'all seen it. But
Yes.
that show is really like, me and my best friend, we watched it like 3 4 times, and it just shows so much of like just character, like we said, just like you said in the beginning, just having a good character, giving somebody a compliment, a hug, Uh,
Yeah.
like people are just so harsh, and being disabled helped me learn how to react and not to react, and also learn how to help people in many ways without like you don't have to physically do anything for somebody to make somebody day. Like so, that's something that I
Right.
really wanted to just discuss and like react off of, and that's my goal with music. Honestly, like let me just give people joy, give people joy, and give people a story.
No,
Thank you.
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
You've been doing a great job with that too, and I'm just so proud of you,
Thank you.
man. And thank you for expressing and sharing that, man. And again,
Yeah.
my prayers to your niece,
Yeah.
and to you,
Yeah.
and much strength to you every day, all the time.
Thank you.
Keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. My heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
Yep. Dave Buddha, just checked in. You know what I mean? Sent some the goat saying you the goat.
That's my brother. That's my brother right there. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate them. Yeah. So basically, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody. You know, just sharing that so candidly and openly because you know what I mean. Man, that was just you did such a great job. You know, as well, Banks. You know, all of you all did. You know, just speaking about that, just kick off the first half of this show. And so, now I kind of want to you know, go into where, if you like to just kind of we like an open conversation, more of, turn it more into like a talk show. We had expressed ourselves initially, but if I may, you know, I want to ask Annette, a question about, in reference to the health and the food, what impacted you to even get into, caring so much about, that particular field to where you studied it.
Well, so what had happened was, when you're going through life, right? I was a soldier at one point, and I said, I want to go and study. At first, I studied sports medicine. So my undergrad's in management, and now my first master's is in sports medicine. And what drove me really was my first child. So I was a single mom, and I had a break in service, and I said, you know what? I'm going to apply to this U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps because I wanted stability, but I also still wanted to serve my country. I wanted to serve people. And so I went there and I was like, hey, I have a degree, a master's degree in sports medicine. They're like, no, that's not a qualified degree. I'm like, it's health related. Nope. So I went back to school again and got my MPH, master's in public health. And then I started with USDA. And so my passion is because there's, I don't know if you remember, this is, I think back in the day, Jack in the Box, right? It's probably okay. So there was an incident, Jack in the Box, and there was children that ate hamburgers, undercooked hamburgers from Jack in the Box. And a lot of them passed away due to foodborne disease.
Wow.
It's E. coli. It's called E. coli 0157H7, which is an Aztec, which is a strain, a specific strain that what ends up happening is when you consume that hamburger raw or undercooked, then it basically shuts down the kidneys. Okay, so the individual cannot use the restroom. And so everything is stored in the system. When you can't do that, when you can't expel it, then it's stored in the system. And so unfortunately, there was a lot of children that passed away due to this E. coli 0157H7. And so that's when USDA, like the government, they really, really put the gavel down and said, look, we need to do something about this. So then we had like a lot of watchdogs, a lot of stakeholders that, came to the table and said, spoke up for the community. And so it ended up where now they have a random testing done, right? So just to give you a tidbit, I'm not saying because we're in the US, but we still have like the safest establishments. Safe. Like she's like, I don't want to chop up your name, Miss Austin. So I'm gonna say Miss Austin. From like as far as like the world, if we're looking at it from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
So
Right.
as far as like the protocols in place, so what ends up happening is when the meat is processed through the line, it's inspected at different spots, and they have it's called CCP, which critical control points, where you have to make sure that the product is cooked at the right temperature or stored in the right temperature.
Mhm.
So it's a very, very intimate process. And I don't want to belabor this, but in a nutshell, I felt very passionate about this. And so that's why, you think that you're eating. I mean, there's so many documentaries. You can go out and look at it. You think you're eating something that's safe, right? You go out there with your family to eat at a restaurant. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying take precautionary measures, right? And
I'm sorry. Excuse me, real quick, Annette. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but what we're gonna have to do is, we're gonna have to do another episode about this because you have so much information that's telling that can help a lot of people. You know what I mean? And I want to center that more around. We definitely do a show together. We
okay,
can maybe combine our podcasts. That day. You know what I mean? Because but I definitely want to because time is kind of limited.
yeah,
Respectfully, kind of ask everybody, some more questions about, everything. But,
yes,
but thanks for sharing, how that influenced you, to get into the health and everything like that.
mhm.
Because I know you're super passionate about it, as we all are passionate about everything that we do. And it's easy to kind of, keep going. I understand. I can
Can,
relate.
can, can I give a shout
Yeah.
out to Miss Austin too? Thank you for talking about autism, ASD, because my son as well is autistic and has ADHD. So my heart,
Mm,
I'm about to cry, but
mm,
I'll leave it at that.
We'll talk. We'll talk. All of
mm,
us will talk. I'll talk to you, Banks, too.
mhm.
But yes, and thank you for speaking so highly about what you do. Because of course, I've had food poisoning several times. I have a very sensitive system. So for you to share this wealth of information is very informative for me because I feel bad most times to send food back or to call and say, hey, I ended up having to throw up because of your food. And it makes me feel bad having to say that, but we have to because of the same things you're saying. Protocol needs to be set in place for them to know, hey, we need to alert these people. More and more people are actually getting sick. So I'm doing a disservice by not reporting it or things like that. So thank you for sharing what you have as well. I'm very thankful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we spending our precious money on it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Straight like
That's
that.
valid.
Yeah, for real, man. Hey, Banks, you know what I mean? Just, due to the conditioning, you being a survivor of, it's pronounced scleroderma, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so when you approach your music, you know what I mean? Is there a particular area that you like to touch on, when you in the studio and, making music to help make people more aware? Or is it like, or do you just kind of keep your music in general and touch on it whenever?
When I first started versus now, yes. Now I'm more I would say I'm more intentional. Now I kind of speak from like whatever I'm feeling at the moment. Like honestly, I like to be very honest with my music. If I'm happy, I'm gonna be happy. If I'm sad, I'm gonna be sad. I don't like to pretend to be nothing that I'm not. But when I first started, it took me a long time to like really express. I tried to do it, but I wanted the songs to sound great. So the
Mm,
goal and what I was trying to do wasn't matching up. So it was just like I was making music, I was having fun, I was telling my story, but it was like it wasn't like detailed. Like I wasn't tapping into my inner self until about two,
right.
3 years ago when I started working on my project that I spoke on the last time, Once Upon a Child, and that was touch based about the story that I just told with my situation, my niece, my mom, and just talking about the storyline of my situation and how I impact the people around me, how the people around me impacted myself. Going to an
Mm,
island called Give Kids the World, all that just kind of helped me be just more in tune to who I am. I hate to use the word normal, but just being more who I am, and I like to just be intentional until like I never want to do something that is not me, even if like somebody reach out to something and like, yo, I got this song and I want you to do this and I want you to do that. I'm gonna try my hardest to like match that energy and do what I can. But if it's not who I am, if it's not something that I want to put out to the world, I'm not gonna do it because music is worldwide,
Yeah. Yeah, that's very mature
especially
of
with
you
those
too.
situations.
Very true.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's very mature of you. You know what I'm saying? To know that at the age of just only 28. You know what I'm saying? To recognize that early, that's a good habit to have. You know what I mean? Stick to that for real.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Um, Michaela, please, you know what I mean? Which you was speaking about, in reference to the developmental disabilities and things of that nature and your background, you know what I mean? It was very inspiring as well. You know what I mean? Can you just kind of continue to elaborate on that from a different perspective that you maybe didn't reach on?
Sure. So, um, those who are African American or brown individuals, Latino specifically, typically go undiagnosed or underdiagnosed many times. And because of that, we are most times not able to get the resources that we are needing. So, individuals who may have various comorbidities, say, for instance, you have autism and you also have Down syndrome or some other type of ailment, because you are going undiagnosed or underdiagnosed, many doctors are looking at something and thinking that it's one thing, and then they end up from that information not being able to treat you specifically to what you actually have. And that does a detriment to individuals, especially to young children, young African American boys, young African American girls, and Latino individuals as well. Just like my son, he was 8, as opposed to when I actually noticed the early onset at 2 years old, those were many years in between that he could have had early intervention services. And
Yeah.
that's key to actually having a fruitful life. You asked me if he was doing okay. I like to tell people that having autism isn't like a death sentence. I think that many people hear autism and automatically think that the child cannot have a fruitful life or cannot live on their own. Yes, sometimes that does occur, but because they don't have early intervention services or the proper resources presented to them. And that's the reason why I'm an advocate for that, so that people can get the necessary resources in a timely manner. That does the world of just it does so much more for the individual. That can help you get a job, that can help you get an apartment, just necessary health care when you actually know that you need these different things. Just like Banks stated that he didn't know that these things were going on, and it took a doctor that was out and about to actually come and approach him and say that he wanted to examine him. It shouldn't go to that far. He went to a number of doctors before
Yeah.
that. That's the same instance with my son. I took him to a number of doctors, just like various other parents. They take our children, we take our children to various doctors over and over again.
Right.
We keep expressing the same concerns, but they fall on deaf ears. Our healthcare is a failing healthcare system. It is not a healthcare system. I say that because I am attached to it as well, but it's very disheartening in the same instance, because I know that I've joined a system that's put in place that's supposed to help and not harm. However, it does a lot of detriment to individuals. And so that's the reason why I'm an advocate and why I'm passionate about it, and why I many times try and spread the word on platforms such as yours as well.
No, thank you.
I
Thank
hope
you
I
for
didn't take
that.
up
You
too
know what
much
I
time.
mean? No, thank you for sharing that too. You know what I mean? That's very pertinent information that we all need to know. You know what I mean? I kind of want to, because at the beginning of the show again, I spoke about all of these awarenesses that's this month. You know what I mean? I'm just looking back at this list, and I can't help but to speak a little bit about workplace eye safety awareness month for I work in construction, and you know what I mean. Not at any time, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So I just want to remind everybody that works in warehouses, anything that can damage your eyes, you know what I mean? Safety glasses are very important. They're there for a reason. It's this not time to be cool. You know, sometimes the glasses may look goofy, you know what I mean? Sometimes
Right.
they be too big if you don't have your own personal glasses. But remember at the end of the day, you know, you definitely want to protect, you know, the limbs and ligaments and the senses that you do were blessed with to be able to have. You know what I mean? So, you know, you want to protect those things. So, you know, if you are able to see and you know what I mean, and you was blessed with sight, you want to protect your sight. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Just don't take it for granted. You know what I mean? So many times I remind people like, hey man, today I was on the job doing construction and I remind my guy, you know, he's cutting some steel pipes. And you know what I'm saying, he's used to this, you know what I mean? But at any time a piece of steel fragment can pop into your eye and become an infection,
Mhm.
you know, even if he doesn't lose his sight, it could possibly turn into something, you know, just as bad.
Yeah.
So I just want to kind of just, you know, briefly speak on reminding people that, hey, put your eyeglasses on, you know what I mean? Even if you're doing something around the house, you know what I mean? It's good if you clean it, you know what I mean? Protect your eyes, you know, if you have some safety glasses, something, you know, go and invest some. They're not that expensive. A few dollars, you know what I mean? That can protect your vision. So that's all. But yeah, you know, but again, you know, please be open to, you know, if you all want to ask anybody about anything, you know, pertaining to the anything that they were speaking about or just any of the awareness that you might be curious about. You know, we all, you know, I'm blessed to have some very intelligent guests like always every month, you know what I'm saying? So y'all are full of information. Y'all speak so well and I'm here to learn.
I have a question. I said it about does OSHA come to your facility to do inspections sometimes? Like, you know, they go in,
Well,
they're like, oh, you know, telling the supervisors or the management, giving them an audit or whatever. Just curious.
yeah, so I work in construction. I never know where I'm gonna be at, you know what I'm saying, for a
Uh,
long period of time. I have different assignments. So this
mhm,
particular assignment that I'm on now may only last a month, but you know, they are very safety stricken to
mm,
where, you know, like we was riding the little buggy, you know what I mean, today.
right.
And the safety manager just looked and did like this, like buckle up. You know what I'm saying? Like he noticed
Yeah.
that with all the things that's going on, there's bulldozers moving by. There's, you know, cranes,
Yeah.
big heavy cranes going by. Like there's a lot to pay attention to. And he noticed instantly somebody we drove past in a buggy and the driver who I was with, he didn't have his seatbelt on. And he told him to buckle up. So, you know what I mean? I don't know if that falls on the OSHA or not, but you
Okay.
know, um, definitely, you know, safety is everything. Like they've really increased measurement when it comes to safety, in warehouses and everything more than ever as we continue to, you know, go into the future.
One more thing I'm curious about insurance, because like from
Yeah,
my understanding, there's no insurance for like, you know, you're gonna pay a high like a personal insurance for that type of high risk, especially doing bridges. You know, like the
yeah,
guys that actually do the cement. I don't know how they do it, but they go underneath and do all that, so they don't have
yeah.
insurance for some. Uh, they're not allowed to
Yeah,
take out
well,
insurance. I
we
don't know something.
automatically have like the regular like life insurance, you know, that's automatic, you know what I mean? But depending on how long you've been there, you know, you have to
Mhm.
put in a certain amount of hours initially to be able to retain, you know, that full type of coverage on your health, like health insurance, dental, you know, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, because okay, maybe some other types of construction they don't offer insurance or something just because of the high risk. They
Yeah.
pay you like a lot of money, but you know what I mean. As a
Thank you for caring. Thank you for caring
Absolutely.
about my safety though.
right,
Right. Anybody else had any questions though?
I was
Is
gonna
anyone
ask.
here?
I was gonna ask Banks. Does he have an album coming out or new music being released?
I do. I'm working on a project right now called Big Deal.
Okay.
The topic is double. It's about certain things like this topic might not be a big deal to some people, but to me, to us, this is a big deal. So that's kind of like what I'm touching on. Like, and my goal with it is to let people know, like, be aware. Like, it might not be, if you're walking down the street and you see something that's going on, to some people it's like, that ain't my problem, that's not a big deal, I'm gonna keep moving. Now to some people it might, because their personal experience in life, something might impact them, like what we go through today, like things that we've experienced. We might see something that might touch us and impact us, so we gonna respond to that. Everybody think like, oh, there's rules. And like me and my mom, I joke about this all the time, because like when she used to say stuff to me, I'd be like, who wrote that? Like, where did that rule come from? And I'd be like, who said that that was the rule to life? And we would always go back and forth. And I just always wanted to challenge each other and let people know, like, this is kind of like my experience and this is your experience. Why can't it be our experience? And we go through it together. So that's what the project is pretty much about. And that was my question to you all. I know that y'all have kids with disabilities and stuff. So, like, how do you practice patience and understand?
Oh,
Practice patience and
Practice
understanding.
patience and understanding, and like not get so frustrated with y'all children. And like, what was that experience like before and after the diagnosis?
Great question. Thanks.
Yes, yes. So I like to think of myself as a very patient individual, and having a son was my greatest gift. Like I felt like he was my gift from God. Um, he's actually in Greece right now. I'm so
Oh,
proud of
that's
him.
dope. That's
Um,
dope. Power to
he
him.
is my light. He is my gift. So I've always tried my very best to be very patient with him, to the point that I feel like sometimes I can be a bit of a helicopter mom.
Mm.
So I try and make sure that, he's understanding things in a way that, he can articulate back to teachers. So I do cross all the T's and dot all the I's. So I'm always at his school. I'm always talking with him. I actually do check-ins after I pick him up from school. And we just go through our highs and our lows for the day to see where his mindset is and how he's feeling, making sure that he was able to self-regulate, and that he, if he did have moments of upset, what were those moments like? And what did he do to resolve those issues if he did have any issues? And then also cross-reference with the teachers or counselors. But it's been the same since I've had him. And I think that's just because I wanted to make sure, like I said, I got into ABA and behavioral management because I wanted to be a better parent. And I say that very gracefully, because many times it can be very hard on parents when you have a child with a developmental disability. And I don't like to think of it as a disability. I think of it as a different ability,
Right.
because they see the world very differently than we do. Even myself, I haven't shared this with many people. I'm neurodivergent, or that's what the doctors say. I'm neurodivergent, not neurotypical. Just with the sense that I also have, which I haven't shared with many people. I don't know why I'm sharing it with you all today, but ADHD as well. So I get high levels of anxiety. So I can relate to my child in many ways. And so I take that same heart that I would want other people to have with me, or that I expected individuals to have with me, for my child. Not to say I'm a perfect parent. I am not. I don't think anyone is, but I do pride myself in taking the time to learn him, to have learned him, to still learn him and learn more, so that I can be a better parent and a better mom.
Lovely.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Annette, if you can
Yeah.
answer that question that Banks is asking, how you
Yeah.
do in your house.
Yeah. So what again, like but I'll say Miss Austin, what she was going through, I was going through as well. I saw that he was there was something odd, that he was like doing like this, flapping his fingers and just lining up stuff like line up crayons. So I decided to take him to the military facility or the clinic, and I was the doctor had diagnosed him with autism and ADHD, and so I got him into therapy, and so therapy. Shout out to all the therapists that helped me, and also therapists that are helping kids with autism and adults even. But it, it it was a, I don't know, a roller coaster for me. And having to be in the military deployments, all these things, as a mother and an officer, and then juggling the doctor's appointments, and honestly speaking, care.com, shout out to care.com, because he couldn't stay in the daycare. There was no way. I felt like, how they say bar hopping, we were daycare hopping, literally. And so I had to screen like over 100 I don't know. It has to be at least 100 care.com folks, because they have to gravitate to him, that he has to say thumbs up, mom, thumbs down, type of thing. He was 3, 4. So we had a nanny for the longest, because I could put him in a daycare. So that's my heartache. That's what challenges that I went through in getting him right. With the therapist would come to my house, or he would just have therapy, and they had speech delay, so he had speech therapy. The school system has an IEP, so he has his IEP in school. They give them time to like take exams or whatever. He's in the high end of the spectrum. So this guy right here, mathematician, like he creates games, video games, still animation, like all these things.
Your
and
baby sounds like mine.
It's like, how did you do this? And he does it with ease. The Minecraft, like a whole like environment. I'm
That's
like,
beautiful.
what?
Beautiful.
This guy's like, and now he's 12. He's going to be 12 on the 4th of April. But I tell you what, I'm very thankful. It's not a easy road. I have 3 kids, so they have different personalities. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure.
And mama need a vacation. I don't know about you, Miss Oscar, but I know you need a vacation too. But I'm gonna stop. Because I can talk, run my mouth. Back to you.
Love it.
Yes.
No, actually, we've actually, this, we have so much fun on this show. We inspire so many people here on this show. I'm grateful to have you all here today. But already, we at 58 minutes on this show, 59 minutes. It's crazy how time flies. When you just, just being personal with each other, and just, being open. So as I close out this show, I close it out the same way every time for the last few years. So I kind of want to give y'all a backstory before I say what I'm about to say about each of you all, on just like kind of how I really feel. And the reason I want to close out this particular show on how I really feel, and I've been doing this since February 2020, was it 22? Because in January, I was hit and survived a semi truck trailer car accident. You know what I mean? Where I was driving and got hit by a semi truck. Scariest thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? And I'm a Leo. I'm a Michael. I'm the, you know what I'm saying? I'm a very kind of brave. I like to think of myself as a very brave individual, but in that instant, you know what I mean, where I was just outside of my control of anything that I can do, and just knowing what the outcome is of when you get hit by a semi truck, because I saw it coming and hit me right before it happened. So just fast forward, I survived. I walked away with the only scratch that I had on me was my seatbelt burn on my shoulder. That's it. You could not tell that I was hit by a semi. It happened at 9:30 a.m. I was back home at 12:30 a.m. 12:30 p.m. And that only took so long because I had to find an Uber and find a way back home because my car was totaled.
Wow.
Now,
That's a blessing.
with that being said, I was a little traumatized though. You know what I mean? I had a little PTSD. You know what I mean? Because I was kind of questioning, like, why me? Like, why you allow me to survive? I'm 44 years old. You know what I'm saying? I've had a good time on this earth, and I'm grateful for this time I've had on this earth. But you know what I mean, 4 teenagers lost their life that same day in the same area in the same incident
Wow.
where they got hit by a semi truck down the street and they all died and I survived. And
Mm.
so it was kind of like, playing games with me, my mental.
Mhm.
So, how I used the therapy was we created this show called the Square Table Talk Show. And you know what I mean, I brought something three, what was it, three of my closest three, not my closest friends, but people that had I reached out to and they gave me some very good advice on how to deal with what I was going through based on what I went through and survived through. So I invited them to be on this show. We all talked about it, you know what I mean? And I got to tell my story for the first time and then it transformed into this that I just do this every month. So with all that being said, I say that to tell you how important it is for me, like I started the show, compliment people, tell them how you really feel because tomorrow you don't know if we're gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? So I want to start with Banks. And with that being said, brother, I just want to tell you how proud I am of you, man. You know what I mean? Of all your perseverance. You know what I mean? Obviously, I can't walk a day in your shoes. You know what I mean? But with that being said, man, you I don't know what it's like, but you keep a smile on your face. You stay so positive. Your music is freaking incredible. You know
Thank
what I mean? Like for real, for real. You know what I mean? I grew up on hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with some of the best of the best. Let me tell it, we got the best MCs in Chicago.
you.
That can be an argument, that could be a debate. But I'm just saying, like, you are great, brother, at what you do, and man, I just want to encourage you to just keep going. And you already know you have my support. I appreciate you continue to support my platform. This is the
Thank
second show, man, that you've been on. I really appreciate that, man. I don't take it for granted anybody's time. You know what I mean? And with that being said, I just want to pray over you, man, and just pray that God continue to watch over you, your family, and improve health, and that everything that you reaching for in your life. You know what I mean? Even at the young man that you are, man, it comes to you in abundance. You know what I mean? You already know because I said it.
Yes.
In
Yes.
that way, brother. You know what I'm saying? I want to say I love you, man, and
you.
just keep going. And you doing a great deed. Through your music and just the way that you speak to people so openly and just a caring heart person that you are. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing soft about that. You know what I mean? That's a real man right there.
Amen.
Amen.
So straight like that, brother. Big salute.
Thank you.
All day, man. You know what I mean? And I want to go over to Michaela. You know what I mean? I want to kind of touch on the fact that, being a model, you know what I mean, that's not the easiest thing in the world. You know what I mean? People look at it like, it's so glamorous, you know what I mean? It has its benefits, but everything has its pros and everything has its
Mhm.
cons. But you know what I mean? People, you know what I mean, I don't know what it's been like, you know what I mean, to be a beautiful dark skinned woman, you know what I mean, to where, people feel like, well, maybe um she don't deserve that because she's too dark or anything that you've been through in your life with the battle of just your complexion of your skin. But you know what I mean, that was another reason why I was inspired to invite you to be the first lead model because what I mean, I wanted that image to be the first image that women see because it's all about the black skin, you know what I mean, the darker skin that has been kind of like disrespected. Let's just keep it 100. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? The darker you are, you know what I mean, the more disrespectful over time is being. The more lighter skin, they've been a little bit more open minded, but everybody, goes through what they go through. But when everybody knows the people who had the darker skin and as being African American, you know what I mean, it's been rough. And so I wanted you to be the lead model, when I did that show. And I'm grateful that, you took me up on the offer and you broke walked the runway gracefully and you just did great and it was inspirational and everybody followed your energy and followed your lead. With that being said, I want to say again, I'm proud of you. All of the awards, just the way you speak, how you are helping the community, with everything that you do. You know what I'm saying? I can see that you're a great mom.
Mhm.
From just hearing you speak and just the couple of conversations we've had. I'm just grateful for you. You know what I mean? And with that being said, I want to just pray over you and all your family. Your husband, your children, everyone. You know what I mean? And just show you love and may everything continue to come to you in abundance. You know what I mean? And you have great prosperity in your life as well. and just want to encourage you to keep going, you know what I mean? And you on your way, you know what I'm saying? God has so much more for you. So, you know, just keep up the great work, straight like that. And if anybody
Thank
asks, I said
you.
it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Lovely,
absolutely.
lovely,
You're
lovely.
welcome. And I love you too. Um, yeah, and if I may, Annette, you know, I come from a family where I'm the only one that didn't go down the path of military. You know what I'm saying? I'm the rebel. I'm the outcast, you know what I'm saying? But my grandfather, you know what I'm saying, fought in the Korean War. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
My dad, military veteran when it comes to the army. You know, my nephew, it skipped my generation, but my nephew, he graduated from West Point and now he's currently like first, second lieutenant. I don't know, he gonna beat me up if I get it wrong.
Yeah.
So, you know, so I don't
Yeah.
have no problem.
Yes.
He's a trained professional, you know what I'm saying? But I'm still Unc. He still
Agreed.
can't beat me in push-ups, but that's another story. Just
Oh,
in case
okay.
he see this. That's just a little, you know, whatever to him, just in case he see this. But yeah, but just, you know, when they say put some respect on my name, you know what I mean? Military veterans still to this day still don't get enough respect on their name for
Come
all
on.
that you all do to protect this country, all that you have done to sacrifice. You know what I mean? I'm grateful that you weren't harmed physically. You know what I mean? To where I can see that is to where because sometimes they leave whole and they don't come back the same,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But they did it out the love of protecting our country and to try to
Mhm.
protect our rights. So that's so important. What you did, how you sacrificed 24 years of your life to do that for us, all of us. You know what I'm saying? I want to say thank you for that and big salute
Thank
to you
you.
for that. You know what I mean? Because you don't get enough respect. And just I want you to just keep going and everything that you're doing. I'm proud of you on how you translated, your experience and turned it into a successful podcast, which I look forward to being on myself, in the
Thank
know
you.
360. That's all the way around. You know what I'm talking
Showing
about?
showing
You
love full circle.
Mhm.
right, exactly. Showing love full circle. But yeah, I just want to continue to pray over you and all your family and friends and may things continue to come to you in great abundance and just keep going. You're doing a great job. And I do love your show too. You know what I mean? I've checked you out, a few times, you know what I mean? And you're doing good. You're a great host. And obviously we all learned that you're a great speaker too. So
Mhm.
Thank, thank
we was
you.
reminded. Yeah. So absolutely.
Somebody,
But much love to you. And I love you
somebody.
too.
I love you too. Somebody has to hold down the fort. Being a single mom is it is what it is.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I already know it's got to be difficult. But I just want to thank you all again so much for being here. And within 60 seconds, I'm sorry, I got to put a time limit on this, but within 60 seconds, I want each of you all to go around table again and tell people how they can support you and, and how they can just, help promote your business support. So I'm going to start with Michaela, then go up to Annette, and then finish it with Bank. So Michaela,
Yes.
please, if you
Yes,
could,
on
within
all
60 seconds.
platforms, Michaela Love Austin or Michaela Miamore, which is my name, Michaela, Love, Love, Austin, or Michaela Miamore, Miamore, Love.
I love it. I love it. Appreciate it. Annette, please, if you could, how can they support your platform or, connect with you?
In the know 360.com. That's my website, but I'm on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm on IG, you name it, Facebook, Twitter, everything. And my motto is showing love full circle. So
I love
Mm.
it.
thank you.
I love it.
I love that. Love that.
Oh,
Great job. Great job.
and I'm sorry. I would like Banks if you would like. I would love to have you on my show as well.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely. We can make
And
that happen.
Awesome.
and Miss Austin.
Of course, of
Let's do
course.
it.
Immediately.
Of
Yeah,
course,
please,
you're by
Banks.
default.
Please, Banks, if you could, if you could share, how people can support your platform too, and and connect with you, please.
I mainly interact on my social media, which is Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, but TikTok, whatever. Everywhere I'm just Banks. I am JUSTBANKS. My Facebook is different. It's Banks BTB. BTB is Be the Best Records. That's the record label I'm started with, and that's what I'm going to finish with. And for my music platforms, it's Banks with abbreviations in between that, and instead of the S, it's the money symbol. I think I'm gonna change it because it's just a lot, but I'm just Banks. My motto is be you, be who you are, live for you, live for others, live for yourself, and lift up the world.
Straight like that, man, in that order, man. I love that, brother. And I'm just proud of all of you all. Thanks so much for being here. And to all the audience watching, thank you for everybody tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to your brother Banks, Dave Buddha, for leaving
Mm-hmm.
a comment. You know what I mean? It just came to support his brother. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
up. That we need more brothers keeper brotherly love like that. And I just want to end the show by just saying, like, hey, if y'all want to support me, all I ask is subscribe today. You can subscribe to my YouTube. It's better known as I Said Management, but it's actually initialed as I Am TV, as in the letter I, the letter M, as in I Said Management TV. So,
Okay.
man, subscribe today. You already know why. And anybody asks, I said it that way. Peace and love to y'all. Y'all just enter the
Love.
square table. And this is where you can get back in the square. Only the square table with me and Mimie Acosta, the legend out of Atlanta. Peace and love. Blessings.
Thank you.
Love you
Thank
See
guys.
you.
y'all soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace. Blessings. Yes, thank you all again so much for tuning in today. What an awesome show. What an event that was today. Wow. That was so powerful. I hope everyone enjoyed it like I did. And so, as you all know, I do several shows. So if you missed my show last night, I interviewed the iconic and legendary pianist and keyboardist Mark Adams. Y'all definitely want to go check out the review of that show. Actually on Tuesday, um, last Tuesday, our last show was from her point of view talk show. So, no, I'm sorry, not last Tuesday, this past Tuesday, this week, we featured Tay Dawson. You know what I mean? She's a model and inspiring actress. So y'all definitely want to check that out from her point of view talk show. This is all on my channel. When you subscribe, you'll see it. And it's all in the category of live. And definitely, replay this show today. You know what I mean? You might have missed something. You're gonna learn something today. I know I did. So and then tomorrow, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday, right? But Sunday is when I'll be live again, and that's right here. And Mimi will be there at that time, God willing, and everything like that. Everything works out. But that's Food Chronicles with Mimi and I Said It. This is also a monthly show that we do. Speaking about food and everything that you see, it says on the flyer. You know what I mean? That's also 7 p.m. That's actually 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, I'll see y'all soon. I'll definitely be around and I do interviews as well, obviously. So man, if y'all want to schedule y'all interview, contact me. You can email me. I'm pretty much easy to contact. You can even call me 219-801-1322. I do artist spotlight interviews and business spotlight interviews and celebrity interviews. So I just want to thank you again, everyone being here. Much love, peace and blessings. I'll holler at y'all, man. And if anybody asks, you already know. I said it.